Hi, everybody. We're doing IXL Algebra 1, of course, and we're in my favorite section, linear functions, which is section S, and we're finally on number 10. So this is S10 Slope Intercept Form. Write an equation from a table. So it looks like we're going to have lots of points to choose from. And let's take a look and see what we've got here. So we have a table of values. Unfortunately, they didn't give us x is 0 because that would be the y-intercept and we'd basically be done. So in general, we're going to look at the slope first. And in order to find the slope, there's a lot of methods we could use. And it doesn't matter which 2 points we choose. We could choose any of these 2 points. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to subtract in this direction. But the way I'm going to think of it is what's happening to the y values. So I'm going to think of it as a change in y. So I'm actually doing the subtraction the other way. But I want to think about it like this. This change in y was up 4. That was, by the way, f of x is y. It's the same thing. They're writing it in function notation instead of as a variable. The change in x is 1. It went up 1. So the slope is up 4 over 1. And we've gotten it almost done already. Now the last thing we have to do is we need to choose one of these points, and it doesn't matter which one. Assuming this is a linear equation, okay? Because we have to first of all assume it's a linear equation, and we can see that it is because this one went up 4, this one went up 1. This one went up 4, this one went up 1. So we can see clearly that this is a linear relationship because the change in y over the change in x is constant. There's a constant change or a linear change. I'm going to choose any of the points and I'm just going to pick the first one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Y is 12, the slope is 4, x is 3. Make sure you pick the same x and the same y. Make sure you, in other words, make sure you're on the same point each time. Plus b, and we're going to make a mistake, subtract 12 from both sides. And it sure looks like we're getting b is equal to 0, doesn't it? Thought I made a mistake there for a second. By the way, this is called a direct variation. We say that x varies directly with y, and this is y is equal to, in this case, 4x plus 0. Well, is there a way to check that? Well, it's just simply y equals 4x, by the way. Well, let's see. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 4 is 12. It sure looks like that's the rule we're using. So in this case, oh, they told me. So nice to always look there. There we go. 4x. All right. Oh, they tell me what kind of rule I'm looking at. Okay, we'll follow we'll follow their rule. How did you get from x to f of x? Well, I subtracted 1 in each case, didn't I? So the rule is x minus 1. We may have to go into more detail in a little bit. In this case, they added something, and of course they added 33 to get to the new value. So this is x plus 33. In this case, they added a number to get to f of x, and we added 22, didn't we? So plus 22. In this case, we multiplied by a number, and in this case, we multiplied by 5. Now, if they hadn't told us that, we would have had to do all the work that was involved in the first problem. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to make it harder than it was supposed to be. Now in this case, we have to find the slope and the y-intercept. So now we're looking for both. And in this particular case, I want you to notice that we went down 8. This may not be obvious to a lot of people. Basically what I'm doing is I'm subtracting in reverse, but I went down 8, and then I went down 8 more, and then I went down 8 more. This is what's happening to these numbers. These numbers are going up by 1, up 1. This one went up 1, and this one went up 1. Now, the rate of change, the change in y over the change in x, is my slope. So my slope for this set of points is -8. We went over 1, if you like. The change in y over the change in x, which is just simply -8. Now, I still need to find the y-intercept. And for this one, f of x or y equals mx plus b. And I need to choose any one of the points. It does not matter which one. And I'm going to pick the third one just kind of at random. Be sure you use the same point for both values of x and y. So y is -24. Be careful. There's your -24 right there. The slope is -8. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one of these you pick, but you have to be consistent. 3 plus b. This one isn't very interesting. I'm just going to add 24 to both sides. And again, 24. B ends up being 0, doesn't it? So this is a direct variation. In other words, we're multiplying by -8, and we have -8. And I assume I'm supposed to put the 0 in. Now, hopefully this one's a little more interesting. It looks like we're multiplying. No, I'm going to have to do the work. I tried doing it in my head really quick, and it just isn't working out really fast. Maybe times 1. No, maybe times 4 minus 4. Yeah, that's what it is. You could guess and just see if you can figure it out in your head. It happens to be y equals 4x minus 4. I tried a couple of different things, and the most obvious, once you know that it's a minus something, is that you multiply, get a little bit bigger, and then go backwards and see which one works. That's not the way to do this problem. What you want to do is you want to see what's changing. Well, I went up 4, didn't I? And I went up 4, and I went up 4. That's called the change in y. And for each one of these x's, we went up 1 each time. So the change in change in y over the change in x is 4 over 1. The slope, dang it, the slope is just 4. Well, we know that y equals mx plus b, and you need to pick a point. It does not matter which one. I'm going to pick the last one in this case. So I'm going to put the 20 in, and m is 4, and x is 6. And we're going to subtract the 24 from both sides. And of course, b is by itself on that side, and it's equal to -4, which is the same as subtract 4. So we've got 4x minus 4. Sorry, kind of probably over-explained, but there you have it. Okay, it looks like we're going up by 1. We're going up by 1. We're going up by 1. That's plus 1 for the change in y, and the x's are also going up 1. So the slope is 1 in this case. So I already know half the problem. I'm going to put a 1 in front of the x. That's my coefficient. Now, in order to find the rest of it, we're going to use y equals mx plus b. If you can do it in your head, great, because you already know half. You could figure it out in your head probably. But I'm going to go ahead and substitute it in. I'm going to use the first point that I see. 24 is equal to 1 times 2 plus b. And of course, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And b is equal to 22. And so we get 1x plus 22. Now, is there a way to check that? Well, clearly, if you add 22 in each case, you're going to get your f of x, aren't you? So x plus 22 is the same as 1x plus 22. In this case, what happened? Our y's went up 1 each time, and our x's went up 1 each time. And again, we're looking at 1x. What are we subtracting? Well, we subtracted 3, we subtracted 3, we subtracted 3, we subtracted 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do the shortcut. That is 1x minus 3. Oh, I said minus 3. We do want to get an intuitive sense for these as well as being able to solve them in the long version. So there you have it. Okay, this time we're going up 4. We went up 4. We went up 4. And we went up 1 in each case. We went up 1. Sorry, it's a plus 1. Can't see it very well. Plus, I said plus 1. And there we go. For the x's. So we're looking at a slope of 4 over 1 or just simply 4. So we know that it's going to be 4x. And if you multiply by 3 times 4, you need to add 1 to get to 13. And 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 more makes 17. So our slope is 4, and our y-intercept, or the amount that's being added, is 1. Of course, we could do the y equals mx plus b and all that, but hopefully you see the shortcut. That is 4 and 1. What we want to do is see that there is a relationship between the 2 points in whatever way you like to do that. And for me, I like to find the slope and then see how the slope will affect all the x's. All right, let's see what our next one says. Okay, this time we went up 8, didn't we? Be careful, we're getting less negative, which means we're going up 8 over 1, so my slope is 8. So it's going to be 8x minus something. Well, clearly they gave me the y-intercept, didn't they? There it is. That's your b value right there, negative 48. So we're looking at 8x minus 48. And we're done. In this one, the rule for the equation, they don't give us any clues this time. If I had to guess, I would say that we're going to multiply, oh wow, hard to say. Looks like we're multiplying maybe by, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it right away. We went down 30, didn't we? And we went down 30, and we went up 1. So clearly our slope is negative 30 over 1. This is going up 1 each time. There is a way to find your b value by looking at your table. Can you imagine what would happen if I put a 0 here? Can you see what would happen if I went backwards? Can you tell what number would be in there? Hopefully you can see that it would be 69. And if you wanted to, you could substitute in the equation y equals mx plus b. I'm going to use this number 1. Y is 39 is equal to negative 30. That's the m times the x, which is 1, plus b. And we have to add 30. We have to undo that minus 30. And we get back to the original b equals 69, which is another way of writing the same thing. So we're supposed to write the f of x first. I should have been writing it in f of x form because that's the way it's written. So f of x is equal to negative 30x plus the 69. Not a real obvious one. So we are using f of x is equal to negative 30 plus 69. Oh, 30x, duh. And I almost messed that up. Sorry, guys. Negative 30x plus 69. Now we got it. If you didn't put the x in there, of course, what would happen is that you would have a constant function and it wouldn't be very interesting at all. All right, what's happening here? Well, be careful. This is not a y-intercept. This is an x-intercept, and that's a different thing. Well, we went up 1 every time, didn't we? Plus 1. And these are going up 1 as well. It's like these are all going up 1. So my slope is 1. And what happened if I take x and I have to get to 0? I have to subtract 5 in every case. Hopefully you can see where I got that. If you can't, you can always do the y equals mx plus b and so on. I'm just going to have y equals x minus 5. Because I knew the slope was 1, I knew I had to subtract 5 in order to get the y values or the f of x values. And of course, f of x and y are interchangeable. So f of x is equal to x minus 5. I said minus. There we go. Oh, it might have a little error here. Be careful. There are times when if you put that, the IXL program thinks you're multiplying -5 times x. So a good idea is whenever you use subtraction to put the spaces in there. I don't know if it matters in this particular case, and it may even mess it up. Hopefully it doesn't. No, probably needed those spaces, so be careful. Write the linear equation for this one. It looks like we multiplied by 10, doesn't it? Can everybody see how I found that right away? Well, I can see this is going up 10, and this is 1. So my slope is 10. And if I multiply 5 times 10, I get my f of x. And 6 times 10, and 7 times 10, and so on. So this is f of x equals 10x. And you want to recognize when you have something this simple. You don't want to just constantly just mindlessly go through the recipe. You want to actually try and think it through. So f of x equals 10x. Another way of thinking about this is that we have a relationship between these two numbers, and the second number is 10 times the first number, and that relationship is described like this. And just a way of thinking about it. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, now this time, let's see. It looks like we're going up 1 each time, doesn't it? And we're going up 1. So my slope is 1. If my slope is 1, I know that it's going to look like this. F of x equals 1x plus some number. Well, if I know it looks like this, then all I know is that it's very clear that I had to add 85 to get to the f of x value. So 85 is my b value. We could do this a number of different ways. Think about counting backwards 5 to get back to the 0, and you end up at 85. That's another way of thinking of the same thing. So f of x is equal to x plus 85. You don't have to put the spaces for the addition. So there we have it. Just remember to put spaces for the subtraction. All right, so now we've got a change of, it looks like it's going up 22, doesn't it? That's plus 22. To get from 17 to 39, we went up 22. Same thing, 39 to 61. And these are going up by ones. So our slope is 22. And if you multiply, and I'm going to go ahead and write it all out because this one's kind of complicated. Y equals mx plus b, or f of x if you want to call it that. My y value or my f of x value for the first one, I'm going to use the first point in each case unless otherwise stated. The y is 17, the m is 22, the x is this 2 that goes with my 17 plus b, and in order to solve this for b, I'm going to have to subtract 44. Sorry, I'm getting a little ugly with my writing here. There we go. It's a little bit nicer. And b is now by itself on this side. There's the b. And 17 minus 44 is 27? Negative 27? Well, there's a way to check it. Add the 17 with the 27 and make sure you get 44. Some people are going to need to do this on the side, 44 minus 17, or they're just going to grab their calculator and turn their brain off. Probably not the best option. So it looks like we have f of x equals, I have a slope of 22, and I'm going to subtract 27 in order to get that. Now I could say plus negative 27, that would work, but go ahead and put the minus 27, it's going to work out better. All right, looks like we're going up 1 and up 1 and so on, up 1, up 1. So we're looking at f of x is equal to 1x, and it looks like we subtracted 2, didn't we? Minus 2. And there it is, f of x equals x. We need a space, minus 2, space 2. There we go. Don't forget to space out your your subtraction. Otherwise, the problem is it thinks that you're multiplying by -2 instead of subtracting 2. All right, let's see. We went down 2. We went down 2. We went down 2. That's the change in y, and these are just going up 1 each time. So our slope is -2. It may not be obvious to a lot of people, but if I multiply the 2 times the -2, then I have to add 67 to get to 63. Probably not that obvious, so I'm going to go ahead and write it out. Y equals mx plus b. Again, like I said, unless otherwise stated, I'm just going to use the first point I see, because it doesn't matter. You can choose any of them. The y, or the f of x, is 63. The m is -2. The x is 2. And we have to add 4 to both sides and get our 67, just like I said. B equals 67. And we have our slope, and we have our y-intercept value. Don't want to state it incorrectly. So we've got f of x equals -2x. Looks like a plus 67. And in this one, looks like we're going down. This is going down, by the way, guys. This is going down 16, isn't it? -16, -16, -16. If you can't see it between the first two, look at the second pair and you'll be able to see it's a little easier. And these are going up 1 each time. So we're looking at a slope of -16 over 1, or -16. If I multiply 3 times -16, I get -48. Same thing for 4 and 5 and 6 and so on. I can see it right away. The y-intercept is 0, or the b value is 0. And we have f of x equals -16x. It's nice when they give you one of those nice direct variation problems. And let's see. We multiplied by 14, but the second one we didn't do that, so we are going to have a b value. It looks like we're going up, huh? And it looks like we went up 13 each time. And we went up 13, and we went up 13, sure enough, plus 13. And these are going up by 1s, which is fairly common. This is a fairly common practice. If you've got a table, a lot of times they're going to list the x's one at a time. So anyway, we have a slope of 13. And I hope you guys in your head could take 2 times 13 and get 26. And we can see we need to add 2. And 39 plus 2 is 41. And 52 plus 2 is 54, and so on. So my b value is 2. If you need to, you can go through all the steps and yada, yada, yada. So f of x is equal to 13x plus the 2. Looks like we went up 22 maybe, up 22, and up 22. Sure looks like a positive 22 slope. Looks like we're moving by 1s there. So the slope is 22. Well, there's our y-intercept, 0, -77. They tell you everything you need. So it's f of x equals 22x minus 77. Oh, gotta have a space. Easy mistake to make. Looks like we're going up. Looks like up, what, 18 maybe? No, up 8. Up 8, yep. And up 8. Very clear on this last one that we went up 8, isn't it? And these are going up 1. Not very interesting. That's your denominator, so the slope is 8. And can you do 8 times 4 and figure out what you need to add to get to 45? If you can't see it's 13, go ahead and go through the steps. B equals 13. And you can always go through the steps. There's your x and y. There's your slope. 45 equals 8 times x plus b. Can you see where I got the 13 now? 32 plus 13 gives me my 45. So f of x equals We've got an m of 8, 8x plus 13. Looks good. Okay, looks like we went up 20, we went up 20, we went up 20, and we're going up by ones. Okay, so its slope is 20. And can you do 3 times 20 and subtract 28 and get 32? It's kind of tough. That one's a little tougher. Looks like it might be 28 for negative 28 for our b, but I'm going to go ahead and write it out. There's my first point. 32 is equal to m, which is 20, times the x, which is 3, plus b, and we have to subtract the 60 from both sides. And of course, we're going to get the negative 28. b equals, sorry, it's a little off here. I kind of got it in the way. Minus 28. So we've got f of x equals 20x. And we don't forget the space. It's really easy to forget the space in there. 28. It's just a little glitch in the programming, and there's nothing they really can't change that. It would be way too hard to go back and fix it later. So I'll go ahead and put it in with the spaces. Just have to remember. Oh, there's my y-intercept. I know what the b is, don't I? And what's happening here? It looks like we went up 11, huh? Up 11 and up 11, sure enough. Sure looks like we're going up 11, and these are going up by 1, so my slope is 11, and my y-intercept is 47. That's the b value. The y-intercept is actually 0.47. Anyway, f of x equals, there's my m, 11x, oh, I said x, plus 47. Nice when they tell you what the b value is. We're getting there. All right, looks like we went up 22, no, 22, up 22, up 22. Yep, we went up 22, and these are going up by ones. So the slope is 22, and 22 times 3 is 66, and it's going to be kind of hard to get to the 26, but it's minus 40. If you can see it, great. Remember, you can always substitute it all in and figure it out. Let's do one more check. What if I take 22 times 5? That's 110, and I take away 40, and I get to the 70. Just a way of checking. So anyway, f of x is equals negative 40, no, 22, sorry, 22x minus 40. Looks good. Looks like 2 more maybe. All right, looks like we went up 23 in each case. Yep, and up ones. So the slope is 23, and it looks like our b value. Can you do it in your head? Think about it. We're going to put x is 1, so 1 times 23 is 23, and what do you need to subtract to get to 11? Did you get it? Well, let's see. What if we do the second one? 23 times 2 is 46. What do you have to subtract to get to 34? Did you get them to minus 12? Hopefully you got it. If you didn't, go ahead and go through the steps. You know, this 111 is pretty easy. You substitute it in. Let's see, we've got f of x equals 23x, and don't forget the space, minus space 12. And looks like we got 1 or 2 more. Looks like we're going up 6, up 6, up 6. These are going up 1 again. So the slope is 6. And 6 times 4 is 24, and you need 17 more to make 41. So b is 17. I'm going to go through the steps one more time. Last time. There's a point. So we have y equals mx plus b. We have to subtract 24 from both sides. And we get b equals 17, don't we? And 17 and 24 does make 41. Okay. m is 6 plus 17. They're making me do a last one. Okay. 19 plus, it looks like 23 is going to give me 42. And it looks like I have to add 23, sure enough. And these are going up by ones. So my slope is 23. And that's not easy to see at 219. So I'm going to do it one last time. Y equals mx plus b. And y is 19. M is 23. Some of you probably already have your answer. If you were following me this far, I can't imagine, but you know, it is possible, I suppose. So I'm going to subtract 46 from both sides. Sorry, minus 46. And it looks like a negative 27, doesn't it? Well, let's test one last one. Let's take 23 times 5, which is 115, and then we take away the 27. And 27 from 115 does make 88, so it does work. I was testing this last point. So we have f of x equals 23x, looks like minus 27. Don't forget the space. All right, guys, that was it. Lots of tables, lots of practice. Hopefully you can see some of the more difficult ones eventually. It takes a little practice to get good at this. I hope you all try it. And that's it. I will see you back again. Bye.